Good morning, everyone. It's Sunday, November 3rd. Yes, we're in November. Lieutenant Governor Kim Driscoll is our guest this morning. Let's go on the record. Beacon Hill's blue wave shows few signs of breaking, but the presidential race is churning things up. How does the LGSEE, the post-election landscape? It's time to go on the record.
From WCVB Channel 5, the inside word from Washington to Beacon Hill. Today's newsmakers are going on the record.
Welcome to OTR, everyone. I'm Ed Harding.
I'm Sharman Saketi, and with us at the table, Massachusetts Lieutenant Governor Kim Driscoll. She was mayor of Salem from 2006 to 2023, and it is nice to have you with us just after Halloween.
Great to be here.
Certainly you miss being mayor of Salem during the Halloween
every day
week.
except Halloween.
All right, let's talk about where we are. As we mentioned, we're in November, so we're now 2 days away from Election Day. It is finally on the doorstep. So you've been on the stump for the Vice President, Kamala Harris, and as has the governor. A Harris White House or a Trump White House would mean very different things for Massachusetts. So right now, as you sit in the chair, what's your take on Tuesday?
Yeah, a lot of good energy. You know, we're seeing our folks are excited to get to vote, to close this thing out. And it feels like to me, we're going to have the first woman president. We are seeing this. We're really seeing energy around Joyce Craig as well in New Hampshire. Folks are locked in, paying attention, and it's all about getting the vote out right now for the next few days.
Well, yeah, to the women president point, you and the governor have made history here in Massachusetts. So for you, what would it mean to have the first woman as a president of the United States?
I mean, somebody had to be the first
Right.
all-female team here. We're glad it was us. Being able to have a president that's committed to reproductive freedoms, to knowing that she's going to be the president for all, to really having the sort of common sense leadership we need as a state, to have a federal partner that we can rely on. That's the difference we're talking about. Someone who cares about folks, is not trying to be divisive, and is going to be able to work in and I think very much a bipartisan way to ensure we've got success happening at the local level, at the state level. That's what a Harris-Walz presidency will bring, and we're looking forward to it.
A Harris presidency, you believe, would be very good for Massachusetts?
100%. Our knowledge-based economy, the work we're doing in clean energy, the opportunity for us to leverage those federal resources. You know, we brought in over $8 billion in federal funding, a lot of it tied to things like infrastructure and energy and ways forward that are not only going to be good for the investments, but drive a strong economy here. And that's the type of leadership we need in Washington.
So just talking about on the positive side, on the other side, if Donald Trump is president of the United States, does that adversely affect Massachusetts?
I think Massachusetts has a lot of assets. We saw what happened during the last Trump presidency. Massachusetts stepped up. We'll continue to lead and be that strong voice, ensuring that the types of freedoms and democratic values that people rely on are in place here. And we will persevere. Obviously, it would be a lot better for our economy, for our housing agenda, for so many of the things we're working on, to have a partner in Washington.
I want to ask you about the ballot questions, specifically a couple of them. You and the governor are no on question 2, and that would get rid of the MCAS graduation requirement. If voters approve this, will your administration put different standards in place? What's the plan if this is no longer counts toward graduation? You
know, right now we are focusing on making sure everybody knows what the impact of question 2 will be. We believe that it's important to have a strong statewide standard so that when students are graduating, we'll know that there'll be uniform value in that. Is the MCAS perfect? No. Can we fix it? Yes. But let's not replace it without taking it away.
So, is the administration preparing, though?
Well, I think the most important thing right now is making sure people know what they're voting on, what the impact of this is. There is some confusion with folks when you're talking about, is MCAS going away altogether? What does it mean to have a graduation requirement?
It would just be eliminating it as a graduation requirement. So, but I wonder if the administration's planning on having something else in place if, in fact, this does.
Look, this is going to be close. We're focused on making sure voters know what this means right now and the importance of keeping the statewide standard. We don't want to be a state like Alabama or Mississippi or places that don't have a statewide standard for graduation. Our students have met this moment. They have been for the last nearly 20 years in terms of graduating. The vast majority of students pass the MCAS, pass their underlying standards. Let's not reduce that and lower the bar.
Before you go to question 5, you've been on the front lines. You've been the mayor of a city here, and so you know, you've heard the other side, right? That teachers teach to the test, and that maybe some kids can't take tests, so they shouldn't be judged that way.
Look, this is really important. I chaired a school committee for 17 years of a gateway city, diverse population. My own children attended public schools. They had to take the MCAS exam. It is not perfect. It is 20 years old, and we need to fix the assessment to make sure it's doing all that it can. But there were also, when this first was put in place, mayors and others who were concerned about plummeting graduation rates, skyrocketing dropping dropout rates. That did not happen. Our students, our teachers, our families, they did the hard work, and most kids graduate who pass their underlying courses and take the MCAS. Let's not remove that standard and leave 351 cities and towns to come up with their own high school standard for graduation.
Well, and that would leave the state in a position where maybe the state would have to come up with its own standards again.
Well, I think it's going to be close, and like I said, we want people to know what's at stake. Hopefully folks are supporting No on 2 as a means to get us to a better model of assessment and ensuring that we're holding high expectations for all kids.
Let me ask you about question 5, tipped wages for workers, the tipped workers minimum wage. What would you like to see happen here?
Yeah, you know, I was a server at one time in my life while I was in college, a bad server, I should say. The governor was a very good server. We feel strongly that servers work hard. We want them to be fairly compensated. And this, to us, feels like a question that is a solution in search of a problem. We have strong laws now here.
You don't support this.
We don't support this. We're No on 5. We have hardworking restaurant owners. This is a key part of so much of what is life nowadays. And we want to support the status quo and make sure that folks vote No on 5 to ensure that we've got not only quality restaurants, but quality workers who are like sort of you hustle, you get what you work for. Most of the servers that I know are all opposed to this question as well.
So you mentioned this in our opening remarks. The governor's race in New Hampshire. It's a bordering state, and it's right there. It's on television, in fact, all the time in this market, all the time. The Republican in that race, Kelly Ayotte, has attacked the Democrat opponent Joyce Craig, arguing that she is trying to make New Hampshire more like Massachusetts, citing taxes, among other things. So is your response? I was going to say, is that wrong? I'm not going to say that. I'm just going to say, what's your response to that?
We are fully supporting Joyce Craig for governor. She's been a mayor, so I'm partial to mayors. Mayors have to get things done every single day, drives you to being a better listener, more accountable. But most assuredly, we need a partner in New Hampshire. You know, all of New England would be one state if the country was settled west to east. We have more that we can collaborate on than we are competitors, and I think there are opportunities for us to, you know, really have a strong partner when it comes to driving energy policy, when it's thinking about ways that we can work together on the ecosystems. We share a lot on those border communities in particular to drive the economy, housing policies. There are more things that we can do to collaborate, so we're strong supporters of Joyce Craig. She's been a mayor. She knows how to get things done.
This is a highly competitive race up in New Hampshire. Does this argument work, though, when one candidate takes a swipe at Massachusetts?
Well, look, we're from Massachusetts. We're partial to the things that we're doing well here. I don't think it makes sense for us to be swiping at New Hampshire or New Hampshire to be swiping at us or for us to be picking on Maine. As a New England region, we need to work together to tackle our biggest challenges, whether that's the climate crisis, knows no state border, or whether it's ways that we can drive and support an economy. We're talking about other places that have a much bigger one statewide presence, and we're going to be stronger as a team working with folks who see an aligned way to move forward. And we're, again, all in for Joyce Craig. The energy is great on the ground there. We need somebody who's going to stand up and protect reproductive freedoms as well. New Hampshire is the only state in New England that doesn't have a statewide protections in place. This is an important race.
All right, we have so much to get to. Your administration says the state emergency shelter crisis is set to cost more than $1 billion through fiscal year 25. Do you think there are more efficiencies to be had in this system?
I mean, it would be great for us, first off, to have a strong federal partner in this. Immigration is a federal issue. We can't do as much as we'd like to in terms of controlling the front door. We also are a right to shelter state. We know that we have important values here. We have seen incredible increases, but over the last year, that has slowed down, I will say. It's still a very sought after need, given the housing crisis that we have.
How much has it slowed down?
We're seeing about 18 families a day that are coming in. That's from like 1,000 families a month, not too long ago. And we are seeing more of our own Massachusetts families who are seeking help and services.
Do you think the administration can find some efficiencies in this system?
We're very much underway in those conversations. We have a legislative commission working on this. Our EA shelter system hasn't been great for years, to be honest. Folks stay in shelter for much longer than we need them to. We would like shelter to be, the need for housing shelter to be rare, brief, non-recurring, fiscally and operationally sustainable. And that means we've got to work and understand what that is. We've got new arriving families, Massachusetts families. You could be a woman fleeing domestic violence seeking shelter to someone who just ran into some hard luck. And the system is designed for one size fits all. We need to really do the assessment. And we're learning a lot through this process, and we're going to make it better.
But critics say that the 5-day limit that you put in place is not the answer, that even if you accept 1 day of shelter, you're locked up for 6 months. Is it the answer, or is there another way?
I don't think that's true at all. I think we're seeing that we are rehousing more families now with these new policies. In fact, September, we had our highest month of getting folks out of shelter into housing stability. Staying in a hotel for a year is no way to raise a family, no way to really help people. It's supposed to be shelter, not housing, and that's the model that we're moving for. We're undertaking a listening session. We've got to right size it. I I understand that 5 days may be too short, but how do we move forward in a way that is sustainable economically and also enables us to help families who need this type of service right now?
Lieutenant Governor is with us. We're on the record. Stay with us.